So I was in Sydney doing prep for RTX Australia. Then on the way back, I connected in San Francisco, so I stopped for PSX for the weekend. Then I came home, and then I immediately started shitting for about 24 hours straight.
Wow.
Alternating with sleeping, and I've been a mess.
Wow, you took an international flight and a return flight in a week? That sounds fucking brutal.
Do you ever think about...
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing how brutal that must be.
Do you ever think when you take a dump after a long international flight that you're dumping like another country's food into your country?
You know,
I actually have thought about that. I'm upset that I thought about something that Gavin thought about.
I think about it because when you're going into Australia, they're so crazy about no outside flora and fauna, like no outside
I got plenty.
food. Yeah, it's like I'm filled with it. You can't stop that. I'm gonna dump all in you.
It is a good point. I mean, that's how. I'm sorry, I'm still chewing cookies here. That's how, on an evolutionary basis, that's how plants spread across the globe. Is something would eat it and then wander off and poop it out with fertilizer and seeds later. And that's how stuff moved from place to place.
Well, and the wind.
Well, that and the wind. But poop, the poop thing is relevant to our particular discussion.
Is that why they call it breaking wind? It's like the same kind of thing.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like
So you're coming, if you just go, like they don't tell you, don't bring any apples, produce, and also your first poop in our country, don't do it outdoors. Like you think that would be something they would tell you not to do?
Or they give you a Ziploc bag and be like, here, before you leave the airport, we need to see a dump in this bag.
You're joking. That's probably going to happen eventually, right? You're going to have to take like mandated poos as you land in a new country. Immigration.
I'm actually
poo,
surprised they
luggage.
don't do it in New Zealand yet, because New Zealand is the most careful about it. Is Hawaii that
Hawaii,
careful?
they have the conveyor belt thing where they scan everything, and they make you do it like 2 or 3 times, even after you go through it first and you get to your gate. It's like, we know you're at your gate, you have to do it again. Are they going to install those in the toilets at some point?
Yeah,
Is that what
they'll do
happens?
Gavin's like weighing it toilet too.
Yeah, they'll have like
Shit
those
sets.
beagles with that little vest, like sitting by the toilet, being like, there you go, smell your butt.
I pissed off I just got back from doing the Amazing Race, so I was gone for like a full month because regardless of how long you're participating in it, they keep everyone away the same amount of time, so you can't tell like what place people finished in and things like that. But I was dealing with like I am very careful around TSA people, but there's a big grind associated with the race, so I got kind of worn down. I pissed off I'm not sure if I can say how, but I pissed off like a security person, and it's the second security person I've ever pissed off. Do you remember the first time?
The first time you pissed
Like
off
they
a
legitimately got
security
upset with me?
I don't remember that.
It was in New Zealand, and they were coming around with a service dog, and the service dog had a little patch on it that was like produce and stuff like that. It was food, clearly a food logo. And I asked the lady, I go, what kind of service dog is this? I go, what's the patch for? And she goes, oh, this is New Zealand. This is a dog. It doesn't sniff for drugs. It was going sniffing in everyone's luggage. It sniffs for food. It finds food. Specially trained dog. And I go, isn't a dog that finds food just a dog? And she got really upset with me. It's like, I always wondered, what's the training for that dog that it's like you have to, you're like, how do you reward it when it finds food? You give it the food? It's just like all my dogs can find my food my whole life. It's like I gotta keep them from getting my food.
Maybe you have to give him like the same version of food. Like if he finds a pizza, like fuck, gotta give the dog a pizza now. Like the dog finds broccoli, like all right, here you go.
What is the best job in the dog world? That,
Money.
like other dogs, that's got to be top of the list for a lot of dogs. It's like, what do you do? It's like,
Finding food.
I just find food at the airport. It's like, you get paid for that? Find food in my house all the time for free.
They don't get to eat the food.
Do you know that?
No.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure
So
they
then
get
it would be the worst job in that case.
Well, 'cause
Because
they're
every
like
other dog
canaries.
that finds food,
They eat it.
you eat it. It falls off
Yeah.
the table or whatever, and that's what a dog is for. A dog is basically the vacuum cleaner of the house for lazy people.
Or the dad is as well.
That's the food, hopefully, that hasn't fallen to the floor
Right.
yet. Although I have eaten that food too.
That is the
God.
pecking order in a house is that
Still
the
on
kids
table.
get it, dad gets it, the trash, and then if it falls on the floor, the dogs
That's
get it.
right.
That's basically the way it works.
It's like a Roomba, but you don't have to recharge it.
I remember when we went to New Zealand that time, and I guess it wasn't the same incident with the dog because there was the dogs, the sniffing dogs, and
Matt
it looked
Hullum,
like they
everybody,
were.
by the way. Matt
Hey,
Hullum's
hey,
here.
how are you guys doing? I thought it looked like it was a drug sniffing dog, and they were
Right.
around those. Do you remember there was like a group of like Rastafarian looking, but they were like but they were like white kids, but they had like dreadlocks,
Uh-huh.
and they just looked like the prototypical. We've been smoking pot on the beach all day, and the dogs just like didn't do anything, but like the dog played it cool, just came and like sidled up to them, and we're just like hanging out, like we know. It doesn't even matter. We don't smell anything. We know.
It's cool. We're cool.
One time I saw the same thing in New Zealand. Those damn dogs. This guy, they do it when you're getting your luggage off of the belt. This guy gets his bag off. Dog's walking by. Dog smells his luggage and sits down. So the agent's like, "Sir, we need to go through your bag." The dog has sat down and indicated he smells something in your luggage. The guy's like, "All right, whatever." Opens up the bag. The agent like pulls everything out, look through it. There's nothing in it. He's like, "All right, sorry, sir. Guess the dog indicated falsely." Walks away. The guy's like, "Great." So the guy starts putting all his stuff back into the bag, zips it up. Right as he zips it up, a different dog comes by, smells it, and sits down. And the agent's like, "Sir, we need to go through your bag."
Oh.
The guy's like, "But
I remember that guy
just went through it." And they're like, "The dog sat down. We need to go through your bag again, sir."
Good Lord.
Wow.
So
I like how subtle it is. Like they don't bark; they just sit. Can you teach a dog to wink? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It just like shoots a paw at you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This guy.
I got this guy over here. Did you see there was that aborted takeoff of the A350 this week?
No, an aborted takeoff. That's
So I guess it was the first A350 taken off from the U.S. It was like a press event where they had like media
man.
influencers on the plane. They only had 36 people on the plane.
media influence.
And they were all in business in first class. It's A350 taken off from New York, flying to Doha, Qatar. It was on Qatar Airlines. And the plane's taking off down the runway. And there's film. I mean, there's video of it because the guys inside were all media people. And so there's this video of this guy filming it. He's like looking at the camera. There's a camera mount in the tail, like looking at the plane. He's like looking out the window, looking at the camera. Then all of a sudden, everybody in the frame just leans forward. And I guess they say that the plane detected the runway was too short for takeoff, so it automatically applied the brakes.
Plane
Wow.
detected that. Wow.
And then so they had to go back to the gate. People wanted to be let off the plane. They would not let anybody off the plane.
Whoa.
They held them there for 2 hours.
Oh,
then
man.
decided they would try to take off on a different runway.
This is a press event.
It's a press event.
That worked out
And
well.
so as the plane's braking and they're stopping, the guy's like looking around with his camera. One of the flight attendants is yelling, "Turn your camera off, sir. Turn your camera off." Like,
I kind of want that feature out. I want the pilot to be able to know whether the runway is too short.
Right.
I don't think the plane should be telling anyone that.
I hate the idea that a pilot is flying the plane and the plane like says, "No, we're gonna do something different."
Yeah.
Because I mean, is the pilot aware? I guess he has some kind of alarm that goes off that tells the pilot, "Yeah, shit."
Well,
that's scary.
when you hear stuff like that, and we see these Google self-driving cars around here all the time, where there's a garage actually on our lot where there's all the self-driving cars come out of. I always think, are those cars actually impressive? Because like, isn't all this stuff already in planes and everywhere else? I mean, they've had like autopilot on planes and like landing autopilot even for the longest
You never
time.
have like a homeless guy stumbling across the clouds or anything like that. And that's
I guess
what,
that's a
there's
good
extra
point. Although, what a
technology.
magical homeless guy that would be. There's always the magical homeless guy in like the movie who like changes your life. You know, he touches you on the shoulder.
he goes from a cloud.
Right.
He
He
came
came
from
from
the
a cloud.
Yeah. I think
Runways are also very standardized. Normal roads are not. Like
Yeah.
my car has autopilot features. Like my
But
car
it
will
knows. I
steer.
mean, this thing knows that the runway is too short.
There
that-
yeah, but
that
there must be
can't be
something at the end of the
standardized, right?
runway that indicates that, right?
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, just
Go up or stop.
also it's
Those are your
like, if
choices.
the plane can figure that out, when does it figure it out?
Yeah.
It's like was
Yeah.
it like go to take off and it's like okay. It's like the plane is like, we'll give this a shot. I think I can do
Well,
it.
I-
And then the plane was like, no,
They'd accelerated for 18 seconds. They were up to 100 miles an hour.
no, they weren't.
Well, it must have
Yeah.
been wind
18
then.
seconds. How'd they have time to stop?
Then it says that it applied full brakes and they stopped in 15 seconds.
Wow.
They do reverse thrust as well.
I don't know.
But you need headwind to take off, right?
I do, yeah.
So I guess they can't judge it by just distance. It's like, oh well, we're at this speed, and there's this much wind, and it's just not going to happen. So brake.
Wind
I
can be
assume
an issue.
that's a combination of
So
stuff.
you're saying the wind just dropped. So the environmental conditions changed and suddenly the runway became too short.
Yeah, well, that's the variable, isn't it?
No, it
the
totally
runway
makes
is
sense.
of a standard size, but the wind.
I mean, that's when it finally saw the end. It was like, no, I'm not feeling this. I got a bad feeling.
How can a plane measure wind though when it's going? Like how does it measure wind?
Maybe is the speed different than its ground speed? Like if it's going 150 miles an hour, but then the wind is... No, I don't know. I started
Well,
saying
say
that.
you
And
need,
They
like,
might just
100
relay it from the little spinny cup thing that they have over on the side of the runway. They might do it from that. Or the flag's like, dude, chill. It's not windy enough.
it winks at you. It's like, "Meh."
There's certain things that's like you only see certain places, like the cone-shaped flag that's actually like a cylinder that indicates wind. I've never seen those anywhere but an airport. Like
And
even
is that
if,
more efficient and more accurate than
I don't know.
a flappy piece of fabric?
that's what makes me wonder. It's like, isn't a flag just a flag? You look at it and go, okay, it's kind of windy. It's like, and wind is pretty relative. It's like the flag was flapping less earlier, so it's more windy now. Like I never actually care how windy it is. It's just like how windy is it as opposed to how windy it's been. That's all I ever care about. Like they always get all excited when they put the weathermen are just like so fucking bored and a storm comes through a front and they just freak the fuck out. They're like, there are gusts up to 40 miles an hour. It's like, okay. It's like,
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh wait, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like it's wind. You know, what does that mean for me?
It means nothing to me.
How much to blow me up in the air is what I'm worried about.
That's exactly what I want to know. Like they should do that. Like they do that with other things. Like they talk about how fast, like how vicious animals are. Like basically how fast they can skeletonize a cow. Like piranha can skeletonize a cow in like 3 minutes. That should be the wind. It's like
tornado.
Here's what it can lift. Picnic table. That's how fast the wind is right now. It's picnic
So that's
table.
what the weatherman should say.
Yeah.
Or like
Guys, on Thursday it's picnic table, but on Friday it's car.
They just have different symbols, like the sun and the cloud and the rain cloud. It's like the picnic table,
Yeah.
the car, Gavin's face.
Because they make a big deal about it on the weather predictions. They're like, there's gonna be gusts up to 40 miles an hour, and you're like, oh shit. And then you like realize if you were in that, you'd be like, here goes a 40-mile-an-hour gust. It's kind of windy. Okay, that's good. There goes my hat. No big deal.
I discovered that if there was a lot of strong wind, like blowing horizontally, humans would get blown away, but cats wouldn't.
Why not?
Because they can just grip so hard. A cat, when it doesn't want to move and it's like all of the claws are in the carpet, it's not going anywhere.
Cats and little kids. Little kids, when they don't want to get picked up, they're pretty impressive.
Well, they just go dead weight, don't they?
They either go like floppy or they do like that like dead like they make themselves heavier somehow with that
They
dead
become
weight.
more dense.
Yeah.
Who got their glasses blown off their face? Was it you,
That
Matt?
was me, right?
That was
Yeah, I'm
Seattle.
pretty sure that was me. Yeah, and that was where there was that stop sign too that went.
Yeah.
It bent 90 degrees.
Yeah.
That was
Lord.
that was we were at Bungie or Valve or something.
Yeah, we were in
I can't
Bellevue
remember.
for some reason.
We might have been going to a Child's Play dinner.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, we might have been doing that.
Yeah, that's right. I want to say we stepped out across the street, and I just turned the wrong way, and the wind caught my glasses, and they went. Whee!
It was glasses
Like-
wind.
We never saw them again.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
the
they just
weatherman had
took off?
said.
Yeah, they were gone.
If the weatherman had said that morning, and you heard the news report saying, "Guys,
Gla-
today's glasses wind," you'd be like, "Oh shit!"
I would have
well,
been
I'm,
like, wait, like eyeglasses or like if I'm holding a drink?
Yeah.
You know,
but you would have known to be careful either way,
I would. Yeah, not taking my beverage outside.
as opposed to like 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think we should standardize on symbols for wind speed.
Yeah.
What do you think Gus's top speed is? Like, what's a
Running speed?
What's a gust? Like, what's
My-
the top
I get
one?
a gust.
My
Gus.
top speed is probably like 5 miles an hour.
You can do way faster than that.
Nah, I don't know.
I showed Gavin a clip the other day of a guy on a treadmill running 25 miles an hour.
I've seen that.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
The guy's legs are just a blur.
It's like
it,
he
was,
has to
it was wind assisted.
It's like he has to start
Get
up
a
his
headwind.
legs like a lawnmower because he's like practicing with one leg. He's like, and then he just goes like crazy.
Yeah, he also
It's
doesn't
nuts.
build up to it. He he stands next to a treadmill that's 25 miles an hour. Then he like hits his foot on it a couple times to get it going, and then
Well-
like just jumps on. and
Well,
starts
that's
running.
building up to it though.
But it's not
I
like
don't
he
thi-
ramped his speed up. He
I don't think
went
that's
from,
building up to
his
it.
other leg was still standing
Oh,
firmly
so like you're saying
still.
that it was a constant speed on the treadmill.
Right.
Yeah, building up to me would be turn the treadmill
There it is.
on,
There
you go.
and then you run up to it. That's it, right there. I think he's an NFL athlete.
And that's all he's got. Like he doesn't go for very long.
Yeah, it doesn't go very long.
Jeez.
That's a burst of speed.
It's like a cheetah.
What kind? You have a tree preference?
No, I don't know him that well. Like I'm weird. I didn't know until I was like 15 or 16 that there are multiple kinds of apples. Like I just thought a red delicious apple was the only kind of apple. And then people were like I think actually it might have been when I went to college and met you.
The red delicious part was redundant. Like
What?
there was no reason to name it red delicious.
would've just been
it could have
delicious
just been
apple.
called apple.
Right. Right, what do you mean?
Why call it red delicious apple?
Well, they
Yeah,
gotta
if
come up
there
with
was
an-
only one.
If there was
type.
only one, it would just be called apple.
It's like banana.
No, I didn't know it was called a red delicious apple. I just thought those were apples.
Oh.
Like we only had one kind of apple growing up. Oh, I knew about green apples. I knew about that. But
I'd seen him in magazines.
yeah, I heard about them.
They have,
I've heard
those,
about 'em.
they have those for movie stars.
Those are the ones that rich people get.
But doesn't that totally cancel out your original thought? Like you knew
There's a
they
lot of-
existed.
There's
a
a
lot of
billion
apples.
apples. So now it's like
There's no reason
one
to
of them-
have all of those. We just need Honeycrisp.
that red delicious apple.
Every other apple can go fuck itself.
No, no,
is the
no.
only apple that I knew
Honeycrisp
about.
is probably the best. apple. You're
Honeycrisp is
probably right.
easily the best.
But
They don't have Pink
I think
Lady up there.
Macintosh is good. I think that what's the one that's the bottom right, like one from the far bottom right?
Paula Red?
Yeah, that
Wealthy?
one's good.
I like there's one just called Jonathan.
That is kind of weird.
He turned into an apple.
Yeah. That's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. And it's like I think the first apple I tried that wasn't a red delicious apple was a Fuji apple, and I thought it was like some kind of
You know they
new-
grow
new
them
kind-
on
new-
Mount Fuji.
Is that true? No, I don't know. I don't know my apple
Can you grow
knowledge.
apples on a mountain?
My apple knowledge way less. Well, they could be grown near in the Fuji region.
They
maybe.
probably are.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna look where you're gonna be obsessed with yourself.
I read a story.
Where do they grow the Jonathans?
I read a story
his
a couple
mom.
weeks ago about this ad agency in Tokyo where they've had this tradition for decades where whenever they have a new hire or whenever someone gets promoted to senior management, they have to go and climb Mount Fuji.
Who? Where's this?
It's some ad agency in Tokyo. So all new hires and anyone who gets promoted to senior management has to go climb Mount Fuji.
That's cool.
I guess they've been doing it for, I think it was for something like 70 years or something. And I just thought it was
surprised
it was an interesting interesting company
safety.
tradition.
What if you're in a wheelchair?
I don't know. You got to figure it out.
Don't get a job there.
Yeah. I don't. I'll, if someone else read the story, if you could send it to me with the hashtag RT podcast.
Well, I don't know. They're definitely Japanese, but I don't know if they've grown anywhere near Fuji, Mount Fuji. So.
The Granny Smith is the winner of apples.
That's the green one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I love it.
Too tart for me. I'm with these guys. The Honeycrisp is a wonderful.
Do you have Bramley apples here?
I've
Can we
never
see
had
the
one.
chart again? Do we still have the chart?
Bramley's usually a cooking apple.
You know, there's also heirloom apples, like they're heirloom tomatoes.
Yeah.
That like they're not. You know, they don't try to keep them within one genetic line.
Do we have it? I don't
Like
see it
those,
on
they're just like
This is
you
a,
know.
this is a one picture of apples. That's all it is. I mean,
these
there's
are-
lots
we're
of
using this as
apples.
like
These are all the
exciting.
apples in the
There's no
world.
grapple up there. Do you know what a grapple is?
Yes, it's a grapple.
It's grapple. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Grapple,
Wait.
grapple.
I tried one for the first time the other day.
And?
Bullshit.
No?
It's awful.
Really?
And I discovered something else about it. It's an apple that tastes like a grape.
It's grape flavored apples.
So I thought that the way they accomplished this was some kind of crossbreeding. Like, have you ever had the cotton candy grapes?
What?
No.
They're grapes that have been genetically bred and selected, so they taste like cotton candy when you eat them.
What?
But so I thought the grapple was the same thing, where it's like they've been bred so they taste like grapes. Nope, they've just been soaked in some shitty sugary grape juice.
But cotton candy isn't like a genetic flavor. I mean, it's like it's something
yeah,
that somebody
it's-
made up sometime. It's like
Right, but they select
it's like Mountain Dew flavor.
It's like combining steak with a DNA of pizza. Doesn't really make
but they
sense.
didn't
Yeah.
take cotton candy DNA. Hey, there's a picture. They just selected grapes that tasted more and more like cotton candy, and then bred those together.
There's sugar. That's what cotton candy tastes like, right?
You gotta admit, cotton candy doesn't taste like taking a spoonful out of a bag of sugar.
But it is just sugar.
It kind of
Right.
does.
But it doesn't taste just like eating imperial sugar.
No, I get what you're saying. You're right, but why is that? There's no flavor they add to cotton candy. It's just sugar. So how does cotton?
Well, what's
can-
caramel? That's just sugar.
Yeah,
Isn't
it is.
Yeah.
Just bubbled up sugar.
Yeah, or it's cooked. You know, down
Yeah.
a little bit. I guess cotton candy's kind of what is cotton candy? It's like air whipped. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like spun
It's just so light that it all fluffs up.
candy floss.
Candy floss.
For those of you listening from the UK,
Was it fairy floss?
fairy floss. Is that what it is?
Candy floss.
Candy floss. What's fairy floss?
Is that the Australian one?
Maybe
I
it's
don't
the
know.
Australian version. I
Cotton
like-
candy, the grapery. Yeah, I see it right here.
Those are okay. They're too sweet though.
Oh, well, because they taste like cotton
'Cause they
candy.
taste like
you know what
sugar.
you're signing up for when you get a cotton candy flavored grape.
Yeah,
it's gonna
I
be a
have
little
tried.
sweeter.
But yeah, the graples, like I said, it's just like grape juice or like some artificial flavor. Like it doesn't taste natural, and they're mealy as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Nothing worse than a mealy
No,
apple.
that's the worst.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's just it's,
because
it's
they've been
not good.
soaked in-
and they're expensive. It's just a fucking ripoff.
That's one of the secret
Yeah,
immersions.
fuck those guys. That's them right there.